Good morning, children. Today we shall discuss Prime Minister and Council of Ministers, and we will have two video tutorials on this chapter. But today we shall discuss Prime Minister and Council of Ministers, and let's begin our discussion. First, the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is the head or the leader of the Council of Ministers. He aids and advises the President of India. So, the Prime Minister is the head, first among the Council of Ministers, and he aids and advises the President of India. And how is the Prime Minister appointed? The appointment of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is appointed by the President of India. First, the members of the majority party in the Lok Sabha elect their leader, and this leader is appointed by the President of India as Prime Minister of India. Therefore, the Prime Minister of India is appointed by the President, but the President does not act arbitrarily in the appointment of the Prime Minister. That means the President of India has to follow certain principles, certain systems in the appointment of the Prime Minister. So he cannot appoint anyone he wishes. This is the meaning of he does not act arbitrarily in the appointment of the Prime Minister. In case of a hung parliament, I suppose you know what hung parliament means. It means in case no party gets a clear-cut majority in the Lok Sabha election. In other words, no party is in a position to form government. In such a situation, the President may have some option, some liberty. He may use his discretion in the appointment of the Prime Minister. Otherwise, Prime Minister is bound to appoint the leader of the majority party in the Lok Sabha. This is how the Prime Minister is appointed. The term of the Prime Minister. He is appointed Prime Minister for how many years? For how long? Usually, a Prime Minister is appointed for a term of 5 years. Usually. But in case he loses the confidence of the Lok Sabha, the Prime Minister has to resign. What does it mean, losing the confidence of Lok Sabha? It means if the majority of the Lok Sabha members do not support the Prime Minister, that means he does not have the confidence of the Lok Sabha, he does not have the support of the Lok Sabha, hence the Prime Minister has to resign, and along with him the Council of Ministers. That means all other ministers also have to resign. So therefore, a Prime Minister is appointed for a term of 5 years, but if he loses the confidence of the Lok Sabha, he has to resign before the completion of 5 years. I think that's clear. Then we come to the Council of Ministers. It's a body of ministers. a group of ministers, and Prime Minister is part of the Council of Ministers. So we have a large group of ministers that is called Council of Ministers. How are the ministers appointed? We learned that the Prime Minister is appointed by the President, but the President does not appoint Prime Minister arbitrarily. He has to follow certain principles, certain systems. Here, how are the other ministers appointed? Other ministers are also appointed by the President of India on the advice of the Prime Minister. That means the Prime Minister will select the ministers, and Prime Minister will give the names of the ministers to the President, and President will appoint them ministers. So we can say the ministers are appointed by the President on the advice of the Prime Minister. So Prime Minister has the upper hand in the appointment of ministers. What is the term of ministers? For how long ministers are appointed? They are appointed, they will enjoy in the office as long as they have the pleasure of the President. During the pleasure of the President, the ministers are in the office. But in reality, the dismissal of the minister is not decided by the President, but it is decided by the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister decides whether a particular minister will continue to be in the office or not. Therefore, the ministers will continue to be in the office so long they enjoy the pleasure of the President. And once the Prime Minister will advise the President to dismiss a particular minister, he will have to vacate his office. So once again, the ministers enjoy the office during the pleasure of the President. But in reality, the ministers can be dismissed by the President on the advice of the Prime Minister. The next part is the categories of the ministers. The types of ministers. How many types of ministers do we have? That is called categories of ministers. And here we have three categories of ministers. First is the cabinet ministers, the first category of ministers, and second category of ministers are ministers of state, and the third category of ministers are deputy ministers. So let's explain these categories one by one. First, the cabinet ministers. Very carefully listen to what I am going to say. The cabinet ministers are a small body of senior ministers holding independent portfolios. So once again, the cabinet ministers are a small group of senior most ministers or leaders of the party who hold independent portfolios. That means who are given independent charge of a particular department, and they hold the most important portfolios, most important departments. And some of the departments are like the railway portfolios, the railway ministries, home ministries, the defense ministry, the finance ministry. So these are some of the important departments, important portfolios. And you should be knowing who are these important ministers. You should find out Like Home Ministry is headed by Amit Shah. Defense Ministry is headed by Rajnath Singh. Finance Ministry is headed by Nirmala Sitharaman. So these are some of the important portfolios, important departments held by the senior ministers, and they are all part of the cabinet ministers. So once again, the cabinet ministers are a small group of senior most ministers or leaders who hold the independent portfolios or departments. That is the cabinet ministers. The second category of ministers are called the ministers of state. These ministers, some of them may hold independent portfolios, some of them may not hold independent portfolios, but they are the second category ministers. The third category ministers are deputy ministers, and from the word itself you know they are the assistants. They assist the cabinet ministers or they assist the ministers of state. So these are the three types of ministers, three categories of ministers. Then now we discuss the difference between the cabinet ministers and council of ministers. See, if you listen carefully to what I was going to say, then you should be knowing the difference. So cabinet means a small group of senior most ministers holding the most important departments, most important portfolios. That is cabinet. The council of ministers, it includes all three categories of ministers. Here you have the cabinet ministers, you have the ministers of state, and you also have the deputy minister. This is one difference. Another difference is the cabinet ministers hold the most important departments and independently. The other ministers, the ministers of state, the deputy ministers do not hold portfolios independently except a few. The third difference is the cabinet ministers meet regularly. Time to time, the cabinet ministers meet and discuss several issues of the country. The council of ministers as a whole, that means the cabinet ministers, ministers of state, deputy ministers rarely meet, but cabinet ministers meet regularly. The fourth point is the prime minister always consults the cabinet ministers. Whenever some important decisions are made, the prime minister consults the cabinet ministers, whereas the prime minister may consult minister of state or may not consult. So these are the differences between the cabinet minister and council of ministers. And if you have understood that, then we will discuss briefly the powers and functions of the cabinet. Now we discuss the powers and functions of the cabinet. The cabinet has wide range of powers, wide range of functions, because they are the senior most ministers, they hold the most important departments. So their powers can be divided into three categories, namely the administrative powers, legislative powers, and financial power. So you have the administrative powers, you have the legislative powers, and you have the financial powers. Now we discuss these powers one by one. What are those administrative powers? The first administrative power is appointment. The power of appointment. Now the cabinet ranking ministers, they decide who should be appointed, the judges of High Court and Supreme Court. Who should be appointed? The governors of various states. So, appointment of the judges of High Courts, judges of Supreme Courts, the governors of various states are decided in the cabinet. So, they have the power of appointment. Secondly, policy making. The cabinet ministers decide the foreign policies, that is called external policies, or domestic policies, or internal policies of the country. The cabinet ministers together, they decide economic policies of the country. So they are the policy makers, we can say. The cabinet ministers are also policy makers. Then thirdly, the policy implementing. See, once the policies are made, the policies have to be implemented. They have to be followed. It should be brought into effect. And cabinet ministers are responsible to implement the policies that are formulated in the cabinet meeting. And since the cabinet ministers hold the departments, they head the portfolios. They are the head of certain departments, like I told you, the Defense Department, Home Ministry, Finance Minister. So they are on the top, and below them there are bureaucrats, and all the bureaucrats are also responsible to implement the policies. But the ministers are most responsible to implement the policies. Of course, they do it with the help of the bureaucrats, with the help of officers. So that way, the cabinet ministers are also responsible to implement the policies. So these are some of the administrative powers. Then we move on to the legislative powers. The first chapter itself, we learn the meaning of word legislature. It's a law-making body. So law-making power of the cabinet. And here, the cabinet ministers play a very, very important role. And under the legislative powers, they have the power to introduce bills. That means the cabinet ministers decide what sort of bills should be introduced either in the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. It has to be first decided in the cabinet meeting. So, introduction of bills. Amendment of Constitution. Constitution has to be amended in the parliament, then first it has to be discussed in the cabinet. Only after that it will come to the parliament. So that way, the amendment of Constitution also decided in the cabinet first, then only it can be introduced in the parliament. President's address. That time to time the president addresses the joint session or parliament. But the speech delivered by the president in the parliament is completely prepared by the cabinet ministers. The cabinet ministers will prepare the entire speech for the president, and president will just read that speech or deliver the speech in the parliament. So that way, the president address is also prepared by the cabinet. Issuing ordinance. The previous videos we learned what an ordinance is. A temporary law issued, promulgated by the president when there is no parliamentary session. So now, when there is no parliamentary session, the ordinance can be issued on the recommendation of the cabinet. That means cabinet will decide first whether an ordinance has to be promulgated, and it is communicated to the president. President is advised by the Prime Minister, and President will issue the ordinance. So that way, ordinance can be issued by the President on the advice of the Cabinet Ministers. Then we have the financial powers, the money powers you can say. And here the first thing, the money bill. We have learned that money bill is introduced only in the Lok Sabha. And money bill is prepared by the cabinet and it is introduced in the Lok Sabha by the finance minister. And the finance of the government. That means the finance of the union government. It means the expenditure of the union government, the revenue of the union government. How the money that will come to the government or that has come to the government will be spent. Which scheme will get how much allocation? Which department will get how much amount of money? All that is decided in the cabinet. That is the expenditure part of the government. So, the cabinet is responsible for the expenditure of the union government, and cabinet is also responsible for the revenue of the government. That means from which sources government is going to get revenue this year, and how much revenue is going to come to the government exchequer. All that has to be worked out by the cabinet. Therefore, the cabinet has the power to introduce new taxes also, to raise the funds, to raise the revenue. So, cabinet also has financial powers. So, children, today we discussed the Prime Minister, his appointment, the term of office. We discussed the Council of Ministers, their appointment, the term of office, and the categories of Council of Ministers like Cabinet Ministers, Ministers of State, Deputy Ministers. We learned the differences between the Cabinet Ministers and the Council of Ministers. And finally, we learned the powers and functions of the Cabinet. The three important functions and powers of the Cabinet are the administrative powers, the legislative powers, and the financial powers. All this is given in the study material. In case you have doubt, go through the study material and you will get the clear picture of what we have discussed today. In the next video, we will discuss the position and powers of Prime Minister.